Welcome to the Born for Greatness podcast. I am so glad you have joined me. Today I have special guest Jeff VanNote. Jeff, thank you for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Nothing better to do than be on a podcast at 10 a.m.
Yeah, right? Hey, you've had your cup of coffee, right?
I did not have my coffee yet, and I didn't have my pre-workout either, so I'm just going all natural today. I'm trying to be more grounded, I don't want to be up here. I want to be...
Okay. Well, luckily I've had mine, so we're good to go. But anyways, it's been, I think, 2 years since our last podcast. We did it. You were the first in person after them. Well, I mean, it was the beginning of the pandemic, but technically it was that first break we got. And it was so awesome because it was like, oh my God, we get to see people. So that was fun. But what have you been up to?
I think like everyone else, trying to adapt to the new world, like the new way of doing things. I think, we are all pushed in one direction. So I've kind of just been focused on, building out my technology company and really staying ahead of the real estate market and staying ahead of interest rates and ahead of what's going on in the lending environment. I think that's really where my focus has been. And obviously, more than half my time I focus on my 4-year-old son, who's like top priority.
That's awesome. So tell me more, because I think was it 2 years ago you were just in mortgage? Like that was like your full-time thing?
Yeah, so I've always done things outside of mortgage lending that are directly related to real estate. I've owned real estate brokerages. I own tax offices. This is my second real estate technology company I'm building out. Kind of do like fun things, again, podcasts and Zooms and coaching calls and all that good stuff. Mortgages are great because most people need a mortgage, right? And it's a great way to really expand the Rolodex and meet more people, meet more contacts. And there's nothing more rewarding than closing a deal for someone that, got denied somewhere else or didn't think they can make their dream come true. So that's really, a really rewarding avenue and space to be in. Obviously, it's ever changing. There's a lot of volatility, but I've found myself to, recently start accepting that I love chaos, and the mortgage business kind of, fills that need for me.
So tell me more about your new real estate technology business.
So I always like trying to bring value to the community and to the market. And it's a shame that the market has shifted to really squeezing people and grinding people down for leads, and taking advantage of people that are just getting started. And while I understand money is super important and the world can't really operate without money and people can't do what they want to do without money and having resources, right? I believe like the Zillows of the world and the bigger tech conglomerates are just squeezing people, and I wanted to build a community. I've built multiple communities in my life, in person, digitally, a hybrid of both. And I wanted to give people that may not necessarily have the resources or the experience to build their own community inside of a good community, based on truth, trust, transparency, communication, all things that I believe are non-negotiables, especially to succeed in real estate. So the platform is called Reverifi. It's Reverifi.com. You can go on there if you're a real estate agent. You can list properties for sale. You can actually accept and receive digital offers 24/7. So it's a really great place to like manage all offers on a listing you might have. The seller actually gets text and email notifications upon receipt of all offers. So that prevents real estate agents from being on vacation and taking weeks or a day or 5 hours to present the offer to the seller. It prevents real estate agents from hiding offers because of whatever. And then all buyers, if they submit an offer, part of our system allows them to get pre-approved through any lender that's on Reverifi, have their pre-approval uploaded. So it's kind of streamlining the not so straightforward process with transparency. So like the buyers ensure to get their offer submitted. Lenders are seeing what clients are submitting offers and when. But more importantly, again, it's a big social community. So like people can host their own events on there. Like this podcast, you'd be able to go in for free, post your podcast as an event. People can watch it now live. They can go and stream it, see past episodes. So it really brings like a LinkedIn, a Zillow, a Yelp, an Instagram, a Facebook, kind of all together in one, solely for real estate and solely for people to meet other like-minded people so they can all win together.
That's awesome. So what made you come up with the idea?
Frustrations, not liking the way the industry operates, on the mortgage side, like everyone does things their own way, and there's nothing worse than a consumer coming to you or anybody coming to you with inaccurate information, right? It's like, well, my mom said I shouldn't have my credit pulled to get pre-approved. And, my grandmother said I should never buy a multifamily home. And, my teacher in school told me I should never pay points, right? So I really wanted to just bring a platform together where experts are able to share their voice, share their opinion, get the support. And look, when you have nowhere to hide, it's very hard to hide, and usually people are more accountable. So, the documenting of the process, the time-stamped, communications and transactions, the message boards, during a transaction, there's really nowhere to hide. And now there's no more he said, she said. I mean, I don't know how many deals you've been on where an attorney's like, I ordered a title 2 weeks ago, and then the title company's like, we just got the order yesterday, right? Or, hey, we called you 10 times, and meanwhile, you put the wrong number 10 times. So again, it really brings a new level of accountability to a real estate transaction, or just, a simple buyer consultation or mortgage pre-approval process.
That's awesome. So are you actively a real estate agent, a licensed agent, or
never been?
You were in the past?
Yeah, never been, never wanted to be.
Oh, okay.
I bought Remax franchise in 2010, solely to learn the psychology of a real estate broker, solely to learn like the behavior patterns of a real estate agent. I did it more as like an entrepreneur investor endeavor. And I had, 1,500 tax clients. So I said, I could set up my tax offices, and I could funnel all those people that want to buy and sell properties to the Remax office. And then obviously I would get the mortgage business out of it. I didn't really operate that. I was only 23 years old when I did my first rodeo, and I didn't really know much. I was along for the ride to kind of, really become an overall expert in the industry. In 2010, it was a lot different. It's crazy that it was 12 years ago, but I had some really great experiences. I learned a heck of a lot, and that's why I think I'm able to provide the value that I provide, both to real estate agents and mortgage people, and how they can properly synchronously work together.
That's awesome. I think that's really interesting because you have the point of view from everyone. So you really can speak to everything because you have experience in all of it. So I think that's really great because it's hard to believe people who don't necessarily have experience in
something. So very cool. I like it.
Yeah, that's what I see. You make a really great point, right? It's like I'm driving, so I'm at my friend's office, who actually has his own EXP office here in Morristown, New Jersey. I'm driving here. I get a lot of my thinking done both in the car, right, and in the shower. Probably because like I'm not on my phone, right? So I could actually think and like decompress.
Right.
And it's so crazy. Like, I'm a firm believer that everyone should have a voice and everyone should have an opinion, right? But at what point do people start to look at like the proven track record or resume of what's coming out of someone's mouth, right? And I'll tell you a funny story. This girl, she was a girl at the time. I don't even know how old she is now. She was a kid. She was like in her early 20s back in like 2014. And background, I used to train probably 200 or 300 agents, real estate agents, or wannabe real estate agents per month at a partnership I had in Manhattan with a company called Highline Residential. So I was very active in that space. And again, I never did real estate, but my background and everything else, it was just like a perfect fit. And I still do that on a smaller scale. And the girl's name is Alexandra, and she had a full-time job making like $70,000 a year. And she actually was one of the agents in the Bed-Stuy office in Brooklyn that we had opened, right? And she was sitting there on one Saturday. Mm-hmm. The old lady walks in and is like, hey, my mother just died. I need to sell my $2 million brownstone. It was like, well, I tell you, like one of those things that it was a gift from God, right? Like right place, right time. And she wound up making, 5% of $2 million, right? It's $100,000 less her split. So she probably made like, call it $70,000. So on one deal in 3 hours, no work, sitting her butt in a chair, she basically said, wow, why am I working, a full year when I can just close one deal and make what I make? Long story short, She was out of the business 6 months after that, right? And I share that story because she got lucky. Somebody happened to walk by the real estate, right? Like, you actually have to work. And I feel like some people that experience luck or success too early on, like just from being at the right place at the right time, don't realize what it actually takes to succeed or like to build a career of longevity, So like little things like that. And again, that's obviously just one story that I share, but like, she shouldn't have a voice, she got lucky, but like, she's going out there saying, oh yeah, I just sold a $2 million property. Like, look how easy this was. And then you have 5 million, if not more than that, that are falsely mentally thinking how easy real estate is. And that's not that way,
That is so true. Real estate is hard, especially in the beginning. You don't normally have those types of experiences that gal certainly was lucky. I love that you called her a kid and she was in her 20s. Like, I thought you were going to be like...
I was a kid. Like in 2014, I was 26 years old, 27 years old. I was still a kid.
That's awesome. way to make me feel old over here. No, I'm just kidding.
What? It's funny. I'll find myself, I'll see like a 40-year-old. I'm like, yeah, this kid is nuts, but I judge people. I think I have a tendency to, I don't judge, first of all. I see behavior and then I analyze the behavior. And if someone acts like a kid, you could be like 70 years old and man, you're still acting like a kid,
That's so true. That's a good point. I know a lot of 70-year-olds that still act like kids, and
yeah,
it's kind of funny, but it's awesome. Yeah, right? What would you say to someone who wants to get into real estate right now? Do you think it's wise? Would you tell them to hold off until the economy changes, or what are your thoughts on that?
Anything that you do in life is what you make of it. It's not about the economy. It's not about real estate. It's not about timing. It's not about anything more than like how hard you want to work and how much you want to commit and dedicate and sacrifice, and if you want to do something, do it. At 40 years old, are you probably going to go train for the Olympics and make it to the Olympics? Probably not, right? For many reasons, especially if you haven't done that before in your life. But like, as far as a career, especially in real estate, like if you just give it your all, you'll know pretty quickly whether you actually love doing it or not. And again, I think so many people get distracted by the amount of money people can make in real estate that they forget, like, it's a people business, it's a person business, it's a relationship business, and it takes endless hard work, and it is 24/7. It's not part-time. And, I think, again, there's just a very large misconception on real estate and mortgages and other industries that are parallel to the real estate world. And like anything, if you diet part-time, you're not going to be in great shape, right? If you work out part-time, you're not going to be in great shape. So I think people need to be real with themselves of how far they want to go, how high they want to succeed. Like if you don't want to be number one, that's okay. You can be number 20, you can be number 101, right? You could not even care if you do 5 deals a year. But I think like setting your goals and intentions have to align with the amount of work and sacrifice you put into it.
That's an awesome response. I love that. Go for it if you really want to and your heart is in it, and hard work, right? I feel like that's something that's the younger generation is not as prone to do as like the older generation, because things have come so much easier with technology and everything. But I think hard work and persistence really pays off. So
yeah, and
as much as
even like the older generations, right? And it's crazy, like, because I most of the people that are in mortgage lending, again, most of the people that do business, have been in the business 20, 25, 30, 40 years even, right? And they're still to this day not, they weren't adapting in 2008 and they're not adapting in 2022. And they feel like they have to work harder because they don't understand how to work smarter, right? Like they were told, like, get up at 7 a.m., like, drop your kids off at school, or like have your breakfast at the diner and go work and stay out until 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night. And what they don't realize is like, yeah, that was right. And that concept still needs to be applied to your business, but it's no longer 5 to 7 days of doing that. You could accomplish just as much from your phone or doing a podcast or, doing all the above and integrating new concepts and technology to use to your advantage to give you what I think most people's goal is, which is freedom, right? There's nothing more rewarding than being a Monday afternoon at 4:00, like taking the ferry from Hoboken, New Jersey into Manhattan with my son, my 4-year-old, while on the phone, with my other phone, like on a client call, like taking the ferry in my shorts and t-shirt, about to take him to the movie theater, to be able to sit in the movie and still text and respond to people that need something or email back, and I don't think the 50, 55, 60, 70-year-olds value that. They look at that as being lazy or not working. I can tell you, like, I work just as much, if not more than them. I just work smarter and I work harder, and I think people need to really start to adapt to that. So I think what we're going to see over the next 5 years in particular, maybe even 3, but really 5, you're going to start to see the people just start, falling off. They just can't keep up. They feel like they're so far left behind. And if you keep running a race that, you don't contend at, or you'll never finish at, eventually people quit.
That is true. I think that freedom piece is so relevant and so true. And it's funny, I was talking to somebody who's in their late 60s, and we had this, most people know I'm obsessed with the sunshine and warm weather. So like, I like to be outside every possible second when it is nice. So I said, we were on the phone, and he was like, I hear birds. And I said, yeah, I'm sitting out on my deck working. And he was like, oh, so like you're sunbathing and not working? I was like, no, I am more efficient and I get more work done because I'm happy. And he couldn't comprehend that. Like, he legitimately was struggling with the fact, like, but that's a relaxing environment. You should be behind a desk. You should be focused, and didn't understand that I am way more productive when I'm happy. And so for me, that means sitting out on my deck when it is nice and working away from there. So
I think you just hit the nail on the head, right? People have to find what works for them. Back in the day, and again, as we could all see, like, the world has changed, people have changed, behaviors changed, technologies helped us evolve, and also set us back in some ways, right? But that generation, let's just say this, say like the 60-year-old plus, you can even go down to 55 if you want. They were told to grind it out, like, get up, be miserable, get your coffee, still be miserable, go to the office, be miserable, work with people who are miserable, suffer, come home, eat, be miserable, and then go to sleep and do it all again the next day, And I think, like, that generation in particular, think about it, like, if you're 50 or 55, and don't quote me on this, but they were born in like the 60s, right? 50s or 60s, somewhere around there, right? And they've seen a lot of stuff in their lifetime, and they probably went from having like a black and white TV to a color TV to, holy crap, now we're watching TV on our phones, right? And I know even at 35, where I am right now, like, my son knows things. I'm like, how did you navigate that? Like, how did you get there, like, on the iPad or on the YouTube or whatever, right? And I'm like, I don't want to do that, like, I'm going to do it my way. And there's no right or wrong. You just have to do what's right for you.
Right.
And the older generation doesn't believe in freedom because they've never had freedom. They've had to work very, very hard to get everything that they've had.
Yeah, that's a good point. So what would you say to somebody who might be nervous about using something like your Reverifi because they're not sure, because it's new technology? Would you say it's still the way to go? Is it easy to learn?
So I think, I built the company out particularly to have multi-value ads, right? So, like, if you just want business or exposure, create your free profile and you go in the member directory. If you want to host an event, go host an event. So, like, you don't have to use every functionality of Reverifi. I just built out what I believe the market needs and will be needing. If you want to do a video on, reverse mortgages, okay, record a nice, professional, high-quality video, and you can upload that right to the website and share your knowledge with other people. People aren't going to adapt quickly. What I can tell you is, from a real estate agent perspective, you could have your profile up and a listing uploaded all under 60 seconds. We purposely made it very easy and very efficient because we understand time is money, but we also understand the value of execution and putting in accurate data. So we've built it out to streamline everything, to help people and not bog them down. Like I said, we want Reverifi to have people be rewarded and be able to create more freedom in their life and do more business. So just like little things here and there of like offer management tracking along with the buyer's information and buyer's pre-approval, those things will lead like, hey, Rebecca, you didn't upload your pre-approval. Hey, Rebecca, is your client going with an FHA offer, a conventional offer, or hey, has your client been pre-approved, or hey, did you submit that offer yet? So like it eliminates the unnecessary back and forth and requires people to follow a process or system. That way, if you do have a listing, for example, you're not worrying about who faxed you an offer, who emailed you an offer, who texted you an offer, who called you and gave you a verbal offer. So we hope that the platform will allow people to have more freedom for what they love to do in life, whether it's sitting outside in the sun, vacationing, taking trips with your kids, or simply just, not wasting time. If we could free up 10 minutes a day, over the course of the week, obviously that's 70 minutes, we're freeing up an hour of time in an environment where you only have 168 hours, so it might not seem very big or impressive yet, but if you get an extra hour a week over the course of a year, you're talking about 52 hours we just gave you back in your life, and if you look at things like that, I think people, as we come out of COVID, we were boxed in for so long that people need more freedom, and once they experience a little taste of freedom, it's like anything else, you're going to want more and more and more and more of it.
So true. Awesome. So how can people get in touch with you?
I'm like super accessible. You can follow me on Instagram at Jeff VanNote Senior SR. However they want. I'm always saying like I'm here for everyone. Like I'm a big believer in. I've learned this from personal experience. Like when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Right. So I don't have a closed door policy. I never had a closed door policy. I never will have a closed door policy because you don't know what type of impact or response or feedback or statement you can give somebody. To really help them, or like you don't know where they are. They could be standing on the George Washington Bridge getting ready to jump, and if they message you, all you might have to do is smile or reply, and they feel loved, and like they stop doing what they thought they might have to do. So however you find me, find me however you feel necessary. Feel free to reach out any way necessary. And I think just my biggest message I could tell people is just like stay focused and like stay committed and don't give up too soon. I think so many people give up too soon because they're misguided or misled or probably just don't have the belief in themselves of what they have. And everyone has a gift and they just need to find out what their gift is and utilize it.
I love it. Thank you so much for joining me, and we will have to do this again.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.